Her name is Roxy. She's a 2-year-old Cane Corso. She is a little bit nervous, a little bit skittish when she meets somebody new, and she has nipped a couple people in the past. So if we don't do this right, it could end pretty badly. I'm using my wife as bait, so if it doesn't go well, it's not going to be good for me either. Okay, break. Most dog owners introduce their dog to new people the wrong way, especially if they have an anxious, nervous, or insecure dog. Introducing your dog the wrong way is what leads to so many dogs getting bites on their record that they shouldn't have. So in this video, we're doing something a little bit different. I'm here at the facility and I want to show you exactly how I'm going to introduce a nervous, anxious, little bit insecure dog to my wife. Her name is Roxy. She's a 2-year-old Cane Corso. She is a little bit nervous, a little bit skittish when she meets somebody new, and she has nipped a couple people in the past. So if we don't do this right, it could end pretty badly. As you can see, once you get to know this girl is a total sweetheart. So she wants to be loved on. She loves affection. She actually enjoys all of this, but you gotta know her. But once you're in, you're in. And you can do pretty much anything. And she's goofy, she's playful, and she's a really, really sweet dog, and she doesn't want to bite nobody. She will only bite if we do this wrong. So it's very important that we do it right. I'm very confident that we are going to do it right and that she's going to handle this well because I'm using my wife as bait. So if it doesn't go well, it's not going to be good for me either. In order for this to go right, we need to do things right all the way around, which means I need to do my job as the handler, but also Patricia, my wife, has to do things right as the greeter too, as well as obviously Roxy needs to do her job too. There are so many mistakes that owners make when introducing their dog to a new person for the first time, but one of the biggest ones is they rush it. They force the dog into interaction. You've heard me talk about this on the channel so much, is that we force our dogs into situations when they're uncomfortable, and when you've got a nervous, anxious, or insecure dog, that is going to lead to bad things happening. And this is not the dog's fault. We are forcing our dogs to want to like new people when maybe they just take a little bit of time. Our guests usually come in with good intentions, but they put too much pressure on the dog, which makes things go bad. Before we get into it, I put out these type of videos 2 times per week, every week. So if you are interested in learning more about dog behavior, how to handle tricky situations, subscribe to the channel. I want you to be here. So first things first, when you are meeting a dog for the first time, you want to go slow. You want to be neutral. You don't want to make too much eye contact with the dog. You want to be a nice, calm body. I'm going to let Roxy come to you instead of you going to Roxy. We don't want you to put the pressure on her. We want her to go at her own pace. It's very important that when she does approach you, you don't do anything. This is where a lot of people make a mistake, is that when the dog comes to approach them, they go down and assume that is an invitation for greeting, and it's not. It's the dog coming to get more information. Something I commonly tell all of my clients in this situation is when the dog's coming to gather more information, they're investigating, right? They're trying to see where have you been, what kind of person you are, what's your energy like. But investigation is not invitation. That does not mean they want you to touch them. That does not mean they want you to further the interaction at all. So we need to make sure that we don't make that mistake. And just overall, we want to make sure that we're in a nice, calm presence. So we want to make sure we're relaxed. We're not tense. We're not putting too much pressure on the dog. We're not trying to give them treats. We're not trying to touch them. We are literally letting them get more comfortable in our space. So that's Patricia's job. She has to be neutral, calm, and ready for the interaction, but not putting too much pressure on Roxy so that we can make sure Roxy can go at her own pace so that things go well. As for my job as the handler, I have to make sure that Roxy is not pulling on the leash. That frustration of being restrained and constantly pulling forward is also what leads to a lot of bites, a lot of nips, because the dog gets to the point where they are, face to face, or they're touching or within striking distance, and then they get uncomfortable and wham, because they're being restrained, they're frustrated, they feel nervous, they don't feel like they have a way out, and bam, a bite happens. I also have to make sure that I stay calm in this interaction. And if Roxy is not feeling it, where I have her have the chance to meet Patricia and she doesn't want to, then we stop it there. We don't want to rush it. I don't know how this is going to go, so we're going to actually just see it live and we're going to play it in real time. My job is to stay calm, making sure that we're going at Roxy's pace and that I'm not letting her pull on the leash and I'm not putting too much pressure on her to force her to interact with Patricia. As for Roxy, Roxy's job is to go at her own pace. We don't want her, I'm not going to let her jump on people. I'm not going to go let her, run up on somebody real fast. I want to make sure she's under control and we're doing this calmly before I ever let her get close to a guest. All right, time to go get Roxy and let's see how this thing goes. All right, so I've got Roxy here. Patricia is right close to me. So you can see Roxy is excited. Her general disposition is she is a sweet dog, but that doesn't mean that she hasn't made some bad decisions in the past. So we want to make sure that we don't have that happen again. So you can see very calm body language. She's not running up to her. I have her under control. She's not in any kind of a command or anything, but you can see her body language is calm. We're ready to go forward with this interaction. Again, very important. She's not pulling on the leash. She's not whining. She's not barking. She's not overly excited. So this would be the dog's mindset that I want them to be in before I have them go and do something new, especially when it comes to meeting somebody new for the first time. Roxy is nice and calm, so when I give her the opportunity to do this, we're gonna make sure that we do this at a nice loose leash. I'm gonna be making sure that this leash does not get tight at any point, and then we're going to see how it goes. Always nice when the dog is engaged with you first. Good girls. All right, okay, break. Good body language. Come on, Roxy. Come on. Okay, so you can see that Roxy is excited. She's got the tail wagging, she's excited. She goes and she puts her face right into Patricia's hand. She's very invasive. Now, if I start getting excited or telling her to do anything there, or I put a lot of tension on the leash, that could make her nip her on her way out. So one thing that we're going to improve as well is I'm gonna ask Patricia, please just open your hands up. Yeah, so you see how she kind of nuzzled her hands. She made like a little house for her to, put her nose, because this is what Roxy does. Roxy becomes all up in your business, and then she realizes she doesn't want to be all up in your business, which leads to a good chance to get nipped. Okay, so we're gonna try it again here. Okay. Good girl. That's okay, right? She came, she sniffed her, it was over. She didn't do anything more. I have good control over her here. You can see she's not trying to force the interaction. Patricia is doing a perfect job of just kind of being a very neutral person there. Okay, break. Investigation. This way. Good girl. Making sure she doesn't get herself trapped behind the A-frame where then she feels like she needs to act on something. Your little nub's going crazy. That's good girls, right? Huh? No. Good. So Patricia asked, can she make eye contact with her? No, that's not what we want to do with a dog that's a little bit nervous in the beginning. We don't want to put pressure on them. Eye contact is pressure in the dog world, right? So I don't want to do that. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to ask Patricia, and this would be something that if you want, once you've had a successful interaction like that, where we've given Roxy multiple opportunities to go and investigate Patricia, the next step, if we want to start building a positive association, you can use food here. But what we want to do here as well is not try to give the dog directly food. That's a big mistake that people make. What you want to do is you want to play like treat and retreat. So Patricia's got treats. I've given her treats. Her job now is to just toss them to Roxy. Go ahead whenever you're ready. There you go. Now you can see Roxy is going to know where this treat is coming from. She's not silly, right? So you can see, look at that little nub going. That little nub's going, which means she's absolutely enjoying this interaction. Go ahead, do it again. And again, the whole point of this and the benefit of doing it this way, as opposed to trying to give it to her directly, is that you don't put any pressure on the dog by doing this. So a lot of times what will happen is you give the treat to the dog takes the treat out of your hand, enjoys it, and then realizes, wait, I actually don't want to be this close to you. I don't know you. I don't feel comfortable. Wham, another bite, right? So this way we are able to use treats to build a positive association. Roxy loves these treats, as you can see. And this way we can do it without the excess pressure. Go ahead, do it again. Now remember, this is also very important because at her core, like most dogs, Roxy is a very sweet dog. She doesn't mean to cause any harm. She doesn't want to bite her. She doesn't want to bite anybody. But if you do this incorrectly, then she can absolutely get nips like she has. So all of this is about taking it slow, making sure we're building positive association, and then making sure we're going at Roxy's pace. Go ahead, you can get that one, girl. You don't like that one? It's not beef liver? Yeah, Roxy's a little bit of a snob. She only likes beef liver, so good thing that's what we primarily train with. So When it comes to this, again, Roxy at her core is a very sweet dog, but this right here, that is a proper, successful first interaction. The next step is not to get them to love on each other. The next step is not to give her a bunch of treats from your hand or to try to pet her or try to rub her face. That's not what this dog wants. This would be the first of many successful, slower introductions where we're getting each other to be nice and calm around each other's space, not putting any excess pressure on the dog, and really just having the dog be calm around us. Some things to keep an eye out for in terms of body language is you want to make sure, again, the dog is in a calm mindset. They're not pulling on the leash, they're not barking, they're not whining, they're not crying, they're not jumping. We want the dog in a calm mindset if we're ever going to have them meet somebody new, especially if they're nervous, anxious, or insecure. This also applies if your dog's aggressive. However, I would definitely take it a little bit slower. Maybe I'll do an entire different video on an aggressive dog because obviously we know that the stakes are much higher in those situations. But most dogs aren't aggressive. Even if they have a bite on their record, most dogs are not aggressive and they're not trying to cause harm. So little nubs going, nice and loose leash. We don't want her to be evasive. Smelling, dogs like to smell. Good girl. Nice job. Nice job, girly. The success of this depends on a couple of different things. One, I have to make sure I have good control over the dog. So if you don't have good control over your dog, don't be having them meet guests. Two, your guest has to follow your rules. So I gave Patricia advice. I told her and I coached her how to handle the situation, and she actually did it. So if you have a guest that won't do what you say, don't subject your dog to that because your dog is the one that's going to pay the price if your guest can't listen and follow your rules. If you learned anything from this video on how to properly introduce a dog to a guest, please leave a comment. If you have any questions, if I didn't answer something you have in mind, let me know in the comments. I respond to every single one. I'm the Big Dog Guy, and I'll see you in the next one.